Okay, this is a second video about the modified solar uh, project. In this case, I selected a few examples and I've discarded them a lot. We'll just look at just what happens without any financing effect. What happens simply now that we have our target IRR thing and I have no debt. Well, let's just look at what happens to the feed-in tariff or the required PPA price, what happens to the levelized cost of electricity, and given let's use an IR of 10%, which is very, very high, extremely high, ridiculously high. But let's just see what the effects of the different projects are. So what we'll do is we'll just simply put different construction costs, different capacity factors, different O&Ms costs. That's really the only thing that drives things. And when we put those in, we'll rerun the macro here, and then we're going to just copy the scenario results into a scenario tabulation page. We can then take that page and copy it somewhere else. We can take that page and, oops, that's something we're going to do next. And then we can take that page and make a graph out of it, kind of, what would you call this, a waterfall graph or a value build-up graph, or whatever the heck you want to do. So we can kind of go from the lowest cost to the highest cost. Now, to do this, let's first just review something totally ridiculously basic. So to make a scenario, just put an index number in here, code number, how about number, and let's just use the index function and select that and put with the F4, put the code number in, Control D, how about this, Shift Control 1 and Shift Control P hopefully, and Shift Control 1. So that's kind of our basic thing. We could even say, well, on this insurance, if the index is not equal to 0, then take the index itself, but if it is equal to 0, let's just put in 3 or something. Okay, so we'll fill that in. And we just really need these items, the cost per kilowatt, and this is in euros, and the capacity factor. What happened? Why did I make it wider? And I think we kind of should rank them. Well, we have some capacity factor trade-offs, but let's kind of go from the lowest, which I don't know how real this is, to the second lowest, which maybe is this one. I guess Australian and India will be very close. Australia will be the lowest because maybe we have a lower O&M. I'm even covering my mouth when I'm doing this video. That's pretty idiotic, isn't it? Press Shift Control P, so we'll do one at a time. And then the way I restructured this file, so we can just kind of put any capacity factor in we want. So whenever we have a scenario, we just take that, and then we can also put, as we're using as we're using the scenario, the sensitivity thing, we can use this one, and then we can also do that for the operating expense level. We could put degradation and other things in, but I think this. So let's just add the O&M and insurance. And the real thing here is I thought everything was getting clear. We have a program. I think I'll do that at the end of this video, that that automatically goes to PV Insight and reads the data. So this whole business of the panels should be much clearer these days, and the inverters together, really. And the rest of the stuff shouldn't, it's not that unbelievably complicated. So why we get these kind of still very big differences is surprising. This is on your okay, so we have our kind of our assumptions built. We better not play with up and down the arrows, because that would undo our things here. But we're ready to go now. What I want to do is, so let's and in fact this is again really basic, and we have these things. So how many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Did I count? Oh shoot, 7. So 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Shift Control Enter, and quickly make a silly little drop-down box so we can transfer the data. And don't forget, when you make the drop-down box, to go to another sheet first. Yes, yes, yes. And then after you go to another sheet, don't forget to put the cell link in. And don't remember that the cell link is the code number, and that's why these drop-down boxes work so well with the index. And whenever you do this, you have to begin with the first one. Okay, not really very difficult or very even interesting. So we put this in our summary page. So now what we'll do, so if we have India and we want a 10% return, right now we're at 15%. We put it in, and I have a 2.5% inflation. If we need in this case, we need a feed-in tariff of 5.25 cents. That's pretty low, really, isn't it? If we don't have inflation, we need a tariff of 6.3 cents, and inflation in the O&M makes the tariff go down. Why don't we put inflation in there? Now, when we do this, just to understand this, I think the real tariff is so much more interesting than the nominal tariff. The real tariff reflects what you'd pay today. The nominal tariff is kind of just levelizing over time. Okay, so those are the things. Now, if we switch it to Egypt and press our target IRR, then we need 89. Now, the actual tariff was substantially higher than this. Why? I suppose they're getting a much higher return. Hang on, let's put some. I didn't have a tax rate in here. Let's put a 30% tax in here. Just a minute. So we should, if we look for the taxes and depreciation, let's make this a little more interesting with the taxes. So now we have that, and I guess that the taxes are affected by the lifetime of the project. Let's just make it a longer life project. How about 25 for all of them? So if we just, oh no, I'm going too far back and forth. So now we have kind of a smooth tariff, and now we're at our pretty high price. And if we just had it a flat price, suppose there's inflation in O&M, which is making it go down. We could put a lower inflation rate you could look at the inflation assumptions, and then we can see. So that's the kind of the idea. It's not really very complicated, is it? Okay, and then if let's go back to the Australia one and put our target IRR in, and when we do that, then we get a price of 74. So we can at least see what the differences in prices are for the different alternatives. Okay, now what we'll do this time is let's take and name this. We'll just put a name like India, no debt, and then we'll have just a number. And what we'll do is each time we run this, we'll simply copy this row. Okay, we'll copy this row into the next row, the next row, and the next row, and we'll just make this number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So to do that, I've filled in everything. So all of these numbers simply come from the project summary. And I hope you. Whoops. Is the first year price exactly the same? Hang on. I probably took the. Oh, look at this. I don't know why the first year price is exactly the same as the non-normal LCOE. That's kind of funny. Shift Control 1 now. When you do the LCOE, it depends a lot on the discount rate. If you have a little lower discount rate, let's just see a lower discount rate. Should get a higher LCOE. Just a second. I think I just don't have enough variation over time. I'm going to leave that for now. I'm pretty sure the calculation, if you want to see where this is, you press Control and forward. Oh, it just came from there. So Control and forward square bracket. So you can see that put the discount rates in, and the LCOE is the net present value of the revenues divided by the net present value of the generation. Okay. If you change the discount rate right here, let's just put that in where we are. Okay. I would hope this changes. Okay, the real one's changing a little. Let's make it really, 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 really high. There's just not enough variation. How about we put just to illustrate how this works, we'll put a click and index the price, compute our target IRR. Now with the indexed price, go back to where we are, and let's put you can see that if there's variation in the price from year to year, that's when the discount rate really makes a difference. If there's no variation at all, the nominal is the same. Real is still less. The real basically takes these and puts them into real values, taking away the inflation, and then does the levelization. That's really what you should do. There's a whole other video on that, though. Okay, so let's take this out and click on the target IR. Okay, I hope that's fairly clear. And now let's make our scenario tabulation. Now, I've never done this before, so I'm a touch nervous. But essentially what we're going to do is, excuse me. Shit. Now, the only trick in making this kind of thing is, what we'll do is, let's take a flexible row number. So what I did over here simply was put equal row of this. And then let's keep track of the scenario number, and the scenario number is in this column. So essentially we'll take the maximum of this, we'll find the maximum row, copy that down. Now let's just first record a simple macro that just copies and pastes. So let's call this a scenario tab. It really shouldn't be that complicated, so let's just copy this row and paste it special as values. Okay, and maybe we should also paste it special as formats. Okay, that's the first thing. And let's stop the video and just stop the macro. And then when we look at this macro, we're going to have to, of course, adjust it. Now, the scenario tab is here. So the first thing we I think the first thing is we should ask for a scenario name. And we can use the input box, which is a simple thing, to enter the scenario. And that's going to go in our first column. And I think the second thing is when we select this, let's put row row, and then we put range, and remember we put and I forgot of course I forgot the name of our base row. I called it our base row, so let's select that entire base row. Now what I'm doing here is just putting it in twice. Okay, so that just will select it, and then so we don't have to do all this selection. So we'll copy that row, and then we have to find out target row. So and the target row will be the following. Okay, what we'll do is go to the column, okay, and we'll look in the entire column number. This is the column number, and we want to match the column number. So we want let's first find the maximum of the entire column number, and let's just make sure we can do that. Okay, so max num equal maximum, and let's put range, and so on, so to I want to get it range b colon b like this. Okay. Well, let's just do that for now. And then now, well, I think what I'm going to do offline is we need to get the B here, really. So here's what we can do. I said I'd do it offline, but I'm not. So we can let's get the address. So if we get the address of, and we go all the way over to here, and we get the address of anything here. Okay. Great. Okay, I did it wrong. I'm embarrassed. Okay, I put the row number and the column in to get the address, and then I use the mid function with starting in column 2 and going over to 1 to get that. So let's name these ranges again. Just in the left column, and press OK. And now we have a column name. So let's put, now instead of this we can put range. Like this. Range. Now I'm going to cheat right now. Okay, and I'm going to put message box. What it should be is 0. We should get a 0. Okay. Just run it. It says. Okay. Shit. Just a minute. God. I'm gonna waste this stupid thing. Okay, I decided to make this offline. Alright. Let's just walk through it and let's explain. So first you ask for a scenario name. Next you just define the row name. These are range names. This is 5 with a colon, another 5, and then we put rows. So it selects this row right here, and you copy that row. And then the column name here, that's the problem. You have to get this name, and the reason you need this name is you're going to take, I'm sorry, it's this name, B. You're going to take the maximum number in that whole column. So that's the second thing. So this just finds, this is column B and column B. Or it could be column C if you insert a row. Okay, and then if this max number, if the maximum number is 0, you haven't put any scenarios in, then you're going to say, let's go down 2 rows. You could make that flexible, but I think that's okay to put it like this. And then that's going to be scenario number 1. Now, if you've already got a scenario, say it's scenario number 1, then we'll do a match. So we'll just match this whole number and match the max against the whole number. So we'll find how many numbers we have. Okay. So if we have 10, it'll tell us that it'll actually give us the row number for 10. Okay, and it's going to say, and then we add that row number. And we also say the scenario number is the next, that whatever the maximum. If it's 0, we add 1. If it's 1, we add 2, and so forth. And then you define the row you're copying to, which is either just the start row plus 2, or this thing you did with the match. Okay, so it's just like we're doing a match in Excel. We don't need this anymore. So, maybe I should do some of this. Okay, so we'll put select the row to copy the row that has data from summary. That's the first thing we're going to do. And then we say we're going to copy the entire row. And then we simply, go to the column. This is just define the column with the scenario numbers. Okay, and then we find the maximum number. Max in the column. And then if the max is 0, copy 2 rows below. But if otherwise, if max is there, to next highest row. Okay, and then we, once we have this, if you hear some noise in the background, I'm just in California, there are a lot of roads here. Then we're define the row range, and then select it, and then paste special. And then once we paste special, here's one of the keys to. Then put this. We're just going to put the scenario number in the sheet. Now the only problem, there's one little problem with this. We always have to go to this scenario tab. So let's do our kind of classic thing where we define a base sheet equal active sheet dot name, and then we better sheets, and we better put if you really got fancy, you could, in case you change this name, you could, like I spelled it wrong, you could do that, and then at the very end, go to okay, now when we do this, when we do this, eventually it might kind of bounce back and forth. So in a minute, we'll put application screen updating is false. But for now, I think it's good to just show how this works. So, okay, we go here. I don't know why I went to number 10. I hope. So let's put a test. So it puts that, and then let's say we just want to copy it again. Let's test 1. Okay, and now let's say we want to go to our project summary and change it from Australia to India, and we press the target IRR. Maybe we should probably put that goal seek function right in the thing, and then we can right click on this one and assign it to our scenario tabulation. Okay, and so let's put this was India. Okay, and let's just make sure it really worked, and we can show that our IRR is there, and now we have a little bit higher levelized costs. And of course, I put the here. We'll just practice this. This said real. This one, and this said nominal. Now the final thing I'm going to do is just we'll make another little macro that simply goes to the number 5, goes down 1 row and deletes everything below that row. So if we just would make that macro, okay, before we do that was kind of nice. Why don't we do another one? Okay, so I don't know. Let's go to do the Nigeria one, which had a higher cost, a little bit lower capacity factor, and a lot higher O&M expense. Okay, and the equity IR was even 0. Let's make sure our equity IR works because we use the NPV function. We copy the thing and put. Okay, so if we don't have any of the financing effects, we're a whole lot higher in Nigeria already, just because of the much higher cost. Now what we're going to do next is include the effects of a whole host of different financings to see what can happen. So how about this? Another one that should have had a low cost is this one that says other one. If we put this one in, let's see what happens. So then Oops, see, I didn't do the IRR, so I think I haven't really thought through this, but let's just delete that by hand. I think that's the easiest way to do it. So let's just put this back and copy our scenario. Okay. And so our price of electricity is 99 with that one. With this is the kind of cost per kW, the O&M cost, the capacity factors. That's really all that drives the solar analysis. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pause the video and just, well, we'll do a little of this first. So this will be clear scenario. How about scenario tab? Scenario clear. Okay, and let's just go up here. How about this one? We'll select the entire row, go down, and just look at that macro. We'll put another button here that says clear. And this one, I think we really can. We don't really have to go to another sheet. Clear scenarios. Okay, and let's right click and look at that number. So I think we call it scenario clear. And let me assign this macro. It's just luckily below this one, so we go from row 6. Now instead of going from row 6 to 23, we can do the same thing we did here. We have the base row. Whoops. I'm going to copy the whole thing. It's kind of a waste, but okay. We need the base row. We don't need to select that. Oops. What happened? Okay, well, how about this? We're going to get the max number. And we're only going to do this if max number is greater than 0, because if it's greater than 0, we put here rows to clear is equal to the match function. Okay, it's the kind of mistake I made, which is global, and then we don't need any of this. And now we have the start and the end row, because let's just define the start row here as the base row. Okay. It's not the base row, of course, but it's the row start is the base row plus 2. We're going to kind of fix the number 2. That's where we're going to start copying from. And then we put row to clear. Name is going to be the start row start. Okay, and we go until the rows to clear. Okay, that just was the match. I think that's okay. And then, whoops, come on, and then we're just about finished. I get nervous making these stupid videos because I feel like you're on stage or something silly like that, you know? It's like stressful. and somebody's gonna start give you some stupid comment on YouTube or whatever it is to say, uh-oh, you suck. And then we put row to clear name. We're going to select that whole thing and just delete. So that should work. Now whenever you do this, save the file. I forget to save the file. So let's make a couple of scenarios. Test 1, test. I can't believe I've never done this before. Because it's, when you do it, it kind of is obvious. And then, of course, I have a debug, and we didn't define the column name. Okay, luckily we have it up here. And let's turn it off and clear this one. Still rows. Of course, I purposely did that one wrong. God, dyslexic, like coming out of your ears. Oh shit. Rows to copy, row to clear. I don't need it twice. Row to clear name. Don't select, okay. About the 10th time we'll get it right. Maybe, maybe not. Okay, fine. So let's try it again. So let's put test 1, test 2, test 3, and then we clear all the signs. Good. Okay, that's, I'm going to call that saved one. So you can see that this one is going to be in Solar Model version 2, and if you go to the website, oh great, I got a Skype message. I'm going to put this in the featured project finance model right up at the kind of beginning, okay? And that's 37-minute video. Huh?